Gary Gaz Jackson. I'm here to share with you a few little tips on travelling with dogs. So all the grey nomads out there, but before I give you some tips, I'll introduce you to Anita, who is actually at this very moment travelling around this beautiful country with her two dogs. I've known Anita since the big permed hair days and the blue eyeshadow of the 1980s. You probably remember her more recently from the TV show Survivor. Take it away, Anita.
Hi, I'm Anita. I'm currently in Port Douglas, travelling Australia with my two dogs. One of my biggest worries about travelling Australia is the vast use of that 1080 bait throughout Australia. So the beauty of my mate Gaz is that I gave him a call and he's given me some great advice with regards to worrying about your dogs being baited with that 1080 bait throughout Australia. So one of my big problems when we first started travelling is that Damien and I both originally had come from acreage, and so our dogs were free to roam around in a fenced area. So living on the road in a caravan with dogs, unfortunately you have to always have them on leads for safety reasons and, you know, just so that they won't run away. My problem was that my big boy here, Vedder, was always trying to bolt off. I spoke to Gary. Gary was telling me his desire to have that freedom compared to staying with us was stronger. So I was really blessed, and he put me onto a sport dog collar, which we're still in training. And at first I thought, oh, I'm not really sure if this will work, but it's absolutely brought so much pleasure to travelling around with this big boy. As I said, we're still in training, and he is a much better behaved dog. He is got some manners. He absolutely knows who's boss now, and he's doing really well with the sport dog from the dogs line. Thanks.
Travelling with your dog for the first time, you don't know what behaviour problems that he's got when he sees Australian wildlife for the first time. Your dog might end up being a wildlife killer, chasing wild turkeys, chasing koalas and possums. He might end up getting hit by a car because he doesn't come back to you. He might see cane toads for the first time and get poisoned. He might see a snake and try to play with the snake and get bit and die. There are so many things that can happen, and you need to have some control on your dog. So one of the tools I can highly recommend for every single traveling nomad with dogs is this, the training collar. The collar for the dog and a remote control for yourself. And you can actually solve a lot of the problems and convince the dog not to go near this and not to go near that, and teach avoidance training, and also teach a dog to walk around you so you can actually have the dog off lead beside you. So let's have a look at some of the things that the collar can do to make your life a lot easier on the road, and it may even save your dog's life and Australian wildlife. Okay, number one, bait proofing. First step is teach your dog only to eat out of his one bowl, and he must sit there and stay, and give him a code word to eat. So it might be tuck. So make him sit there and stay, say the word tuck, and then the dog goes and has a feed. When he does that, then from there you should be able to put the food down, and the dog just goes and sits in front of his bowl, looks at it, and does not touch it until he hears the word. The next thing that you can actually do there is get someone else to handle small pieces of food like hot dog or Cheerios or bits of steak, and put them on the ground near the campgrounds. You can actually have the dog on lead or off lead, then use the collar, and when the dog goes up and has a sniff, you can pulse him with a small pulse, and that will teach him avoidance of taking the food from the ground. Doing this over a period of days there, the dog will eventually figure out that I do not touch food anywhere on the ground unless it's in my bowl and when I've been given the command to eat. Now, it'll also save your dog when you are in dingo baiting areas with the 1080 bait. So you can have the collar on and you can set the dog up to fail over different things. And then you'll find that no matter where you go, that dog does not touch food at all, anywhere. And then the last stage is actually getting people to go to offer the dog some food, and then you'll find the dog will start turning his head away. So teach a dog avoidance of food on the ground, and he only eats out of his bowl, only on command. And that could save your dog's life. Without the collar, if the dog takes off after some wildlife, you could start yelling and screaming to come here and the dog's going to ignore you. You can have your little Scooby snack and it doesn't matter how succulent it is, he couldn't care less because that kangaroo's more interesting. So having the collar is a very responsible thing to have while traveling with your dogs there, because it'll give you so much more control of the dog while he's off lead, and not only helping with the obedience, like getting him to either walk beside you or stay within, say, a 20-foot radius of where you are, but also teach him to ignore dangerous situations. So in other words, he'll ignore snakes, he'll ignore cane toads. When he sees koalas and quolls, he's not going to chase after them and try to kill them. You can actually curb this behavior before it develops just by using the collar. You can also condition the dog not to go anywhere near roads, and also stop the dog from animal aggression with other dogs, as well as condition the dog for barking. So it's just endless what you can do with them, and having this collar with you while you're traveling is just going to make the biggest difference. It's going to put you in control of your dog, and it's going to start protecting the Australian wildlife and people and dogs from your dog. I'm Gary Jackson. I hope this has been helpful. Have a great day, and I'll see you next time.